If you don't have time to grind and you want to buy a stacked account in 2K with max badges, a nice record, and a high overall, hit up sportstnb.com. The link is on the screen, and you can find the link in both the comment section and in the description. So when you get to the point in my team when you just can't do it anymore because people are playing Giannis at point guard everywhere, at some point you're fairly sure they're going to be playing Shaq or Yao Ming there. When you're bored of the park because it's taking forever to find a good game, or you don't have a squad to play with because you and your friends can never coordinate. When you never even started playing Play Now Online in the first place because they completely fucked it up this year. Believe it or not, there is still a way to have fun in NBA 2K. And that's the mode I'm in right now. I'm in MyLeague mode. So ever since I started posting some of my current MyLeague gameplay in the barbershop talks and the unpopular opinions video I did, I've been getting questions from people. They've been asking about the roster that I'm using, what kind of league I'm actually playing, how to set it up, things like that. So I wanted to take you guys through it today because the thing that I found is people have completely fell asleep on MyLeague. I spent weeks online looking for a series on YouTube where people were actually taking a team and going through a season and trying to win a championship. And the thing that I found is A, everybody's doing rebuilds, nobody really does these type of series things, and B, out of the people actually doing the type of series thing, when you compare it to the other genres of 2K on YouTube like My Team, My Career, basically anything else, MyLeague is relatively dead. And that's a shame because if you play it the way that I'm playing it, it's actually really entertaining, fascinating, challenging, competitive. Like, it's all the things that I kind of loved about 2K growing up. And it really fills that void that playing fucking Giannis and Paul George at point guard every game online in My Team has created. So I'm gonna jump right into it and I'll give you guys some details afterwards. So what I do and what I've been doing now for the last 3 years whenever I come to this mode is I play in MyLeague with all the legend teams, all the best legend teams that I can find. And I pick a team to use that I think is like an actual project to win a championship. I don't want to just pick the best team that I know I can win a championship with because then it's not going to be a lot of fun. You're probably going to run over everybody. That's how this whole thing started. I wanted to play with a team that it's actually really fun for me to figure out how to win with them. And in 2K16 when I first came to this, that just happened to be the 07 Cavaliers. 2007 LeBron James in 2K and 2007 Ilgauskas, those are the best kept secrets in this game. However, obviously in a league full of the best legend teams, even if they're not always as great as they were in real life, they're still very challenging, and it's not like I could just take this 07 Cavs team into that league and win a championship. There's no way, because once LeBron sits on this team, then you don't have a whole lot of options. So that's how I wound up putting Chris Paul on the team. I was looking for somebody to help LeBron on the 07 Cavs, and I had a couple of ideas. Amongst those was I put Ray Allen because obviously I always thought that Ray would be the perfect guy, a prime Ray Allen next to LeBron, catch and shoot. So that was what I initially did, but for a whole season, I wanted somebody who could really like transform the team. So that's what Chris Paul did. Now you have another ball handler, somebody else who can create their own offense, somebody else who makes the offense just flow beautifully, because the 07 Cavs have a lot of underrated shooters, especially this year. You've got Daniel Gibson, Danielle Marshall, Damon Jones. Like, there's already a lot of shooters there, so having Chris Paul there to open up the floor, it actually takes the 07 Cavs from just being a LeBron thing to a team that you can actually contend with in this type of league. So for everybody asking what's Chris Paul doing there, that's literally what it is. That's how I keep this team competitive. And for those of you who have been asking what's your roster, what are you using, these are the teams that I'm using this year in MyLeague, or not using, but this is who I'm sharing the MyLeague with. This is who I'm competing against. This is my first time actually running this MyLeague since 2K16. I played NBA 2K16 for 2 years because I absolutely hated 2K17, so I did 2 MyLeagues in 2K16, took a break last year because I was pretty much just playing Play Now Online, and now I'm back to it this year, and there's obviously more teams, there's more legend players, so I was really able to make use of MyLeague's feature where you can use 36 teams. Before, that didn't really matter. It actually kind of felt like a waste. Now with the new teams that were not in 2K16, it's very helpful. So I'm gonna go through the teams at the end of this video to tell you who you should and shouldn't have in these leagues depending on what you're actually looking for. One thing I did want to address, because I got this specific question, somebody was asking, well, how do you keep these teams from signing free agents? Because if you start in MyLeague, what's instantly gonna happen is you have free agents in the pile like Carmelo Anthony, Zach Randolph, guys who are free agents this season, and they will sign to these teams. So you have two options. Well, actually you have three. Option one is to go into the free agents that you think would affect the team too heavily. If you don't want them there at all, you just go to the free agents, you edit the players, and you drag all their attributes down so they end up like with a 50 overall. That way no team will sign them. So if you just have like OCD and it's gonna really fuck your mind up to see Carmelo Anthony playing for the 97 Heat, then just ruin everybody's stats until you get to like the overall 60s where people won't be signed anyways and these teams will not sign anybody. Option two is before you actually start the MyLeague, go into the free agent roster, go all the way to the bottom to like the lowest rated players and just assign them to these legend teams, because some of these legend teams have like 13 players. I believe the max they can have is 15. Fill every roster out to 15 so that they can't sign anybody when the season starts. Now, for this method to actually work, I think what you would have to do is when you start the MyLeague, you have to control every team, because I do suspect that if you weren't controlling them, once you start the season, I think they're just going to shed the players that they don't want, and then they're going to sign some guys that they do, or they're going to send some guys to the G League. So if you're the controller of every team, then that won't happen. But I have like an OCD thing in my head where I feel like if I'm controlling all 30 teams, I feel like I'm influencing the outcome in some way, because I'm not messing with the rotations or anything. I'm not making adjustments for these teams, so I feel like I have some kind of influence and I don't want any in my league, so that might not be the best option for you. The third option is actually something different. This is what I'm doing. I actually let these legend teams sign whoever they want as long as it's not somebody like Carmelo. So I'll explain. The 97 Heat in my league have Zach Randolph, and he actually makes a difference for them because he's starting. Now the thing is, I tolerate this because a lot of these teams, once you get far enough into their bench, they have like 3 or 4 John Smiths. So what'll happen is when you play against these teams that should be really good, they become very easy to take advantage of because they're running 2 generic players off of their bench. Running 2 generics off the bench, like they're gonna lose the game way too easily. It's gonna take that competitive factor out. So there are teams in my league like the 86 Celtics who have signed a free agent that he might not have a great name, but he plays a decent role for them. I allow that since 2K could not fill out the rosters all the way. I don't care that the 86 Celtics have some guy coming off the bench that can knock down shots for them. It helps, otherwise they would be, again, they'd be playing John Smith. So to really make this league competitive, it does help for you to just let these teams sign some 70 overall guy just so they're not playing a 50 overall or 60 overall generic. That being said, I'm not tolerating a high profile name like Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench for some team just because that just messes with my head. If I see Carmelo Anthony on like the 16 Warriors, I can't live with that, so I make sure he's not in my league. So with that being said, these are all the teams that I selected this year. If you are going to do something like this yourself, I do have a couple of recommendations for you. Again, I did fill it out, so I'm not using all legend teams. I have some current teams in this league. I have the 19 Toronto Raptors, the 19 Celtics, the 19 Sixers, the 19 Bucks, and those are all the current teams I selected. Now, this might be different for you because some of you are probably saying, well, why did you leave like the Rockets out? I left the Rockets out because I refuse to play against duplicates. I have Chris Paul on my team, so I'm not gonna play against Chris Paul. Again, that's just my OCD thing. I just feel weird about that. I left the 19 Warriors out for obvious reasons. I did not want to ruin the competitive balance of the league. However, I do have a couple of recommendations for you, starting with the 19 Bucks. If you are taking on a team like I am, I use the 07 Cavaliers with Chris Paul. If you're taking on a project team that is not 100% a championship team and you know it's going to be work, I recommend keeping the Bucks out of your league. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs yet because 2K is being stupid. However, I played against them 3 times and they are the most broken team I've ever played in any year that I've ever done this. The computer, Hall of Fame, pretty much just 5 outs with Giannis, and you can't do anything. You don't have a defender that can stay in front of him. The Hall of Fame computer will knock down any open shot you give them. They play perfect defense. There's a difference between challenging and unbeatable, and Giannis really, depending on who you're using, just makes them unbeatable. On the 07 Cavs, I don't have a defender capable of sticking with him. He gets LeBron in foul trouble. I can't put any of my big men on him, they're too slow. Like, there's just no way to compete with Giannis in this game, so do what you will, but again, if you're using like a project team like I am, I don't recommend the Bucks. That is the one team in my life that I just don't have a game plan for offline. The 98 Spurs. I chose the 98 Spurs over the 05 Spurs because in this game the 05 Spurs have like 6 real players, and I just thought that that's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not putting a team in this league that has 6 real players, so I chose the 98 Spurs. However, they are really bad. I don't want to ruin anything, but they might be a waste of a spot in your league. They are extremely bad, so you might be able to replace them with somebody more challenging. I would also say don't waste a spot on the 94 Nuggets. I wanted Mutombo in my league, so I put them there, but I knew they were going to be bad. They're always bad. They just don't really have enough offensive athletes on that roster to make it worth a spot, so I would keep them out if I was you. And yeah, honestly, those are the only changes I'll recommend at this point. Everything else is kind of fine. Some records are very shocking, but again, you might get a different result in your league, so yeah, that's what I'm running here. Somebody asked if I was running a MyLeague or a season. I'm running an actual MyLeague. I forgot why I chose that over a season, but yeah, that is the answer to that question. And now I can show you some of the really fun things, the elements that keep me coming back to this every year. So you put all these legend teams in a league together, and it's like, I don't know, I just find it cool to see how, since we'll never know in real life, I like to see how Bill Russell would compete against Hakeem Olajuwon, who would be leading the league and what, how the stats turn out, what teams thrive. So I don't want to ruin anything in the league I'm doing right now, because again, I am showing you guys some of these videos. So I'll just show you what happened to my league in NBA 2K16 because I kept all my files. So you can see in 2K16 when I did this, I had the Oklahoma City Thunder in the league that year. This was actually the 16 Thunder. You see Kevin Durant came out with the MVP. He averaged 34 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, highly efficient. Yeah, the Thunder were really good that year. I think they almost made the finals. Tim Duncan won Rookie of the Year. This year in my league, yeah, that's something to watch. Make sure if you want a rookie race that some of your guys are actually set to year 1. I don't have any rookies this time because none of the guys are set to year 1. None of the superstars are set to year 1, so there is no rookie race. But yeah, I think back in 2K16, I did set some of the guys to year 1 so that there would be a race. I had the 16 Spurs in that league, so Ginobili won 6th Man of the Year. Hakeem won Defensive Player of the Year, and look at his averages. This dude was beasting. 26 points, 13 rebounds, 5 whole blocks a game. You guys already know from the first video I did, the Rockets, they suck in my league, but Hakeem, he has to be there. That's just non-negotiable. For some reason, the 64 Celtics, the coaches, he's sweating like The Rock in Fast and the Furious in this picture. I don't know why, but you can see that the 64 Celtics, I believe, were the best team in the league that year. They were 62-20. They are absolutely terrible this year in my league. I don't know why, but yeah, this was one of my biggest challenges, getting past them. Here you can see some of the all NBA teams. This is what's really cool. You see like Westbrook, Magic Johnson. I made first team with LeBron because my average is always crazy with him. So yeah, the end of the season awards are always pretty cool to get a look at. And then these stats right here are actually from the second MyLeague I did in 2017 because again, like I said, I did not play 2K17. So yeah, you can see how the legends did mixed in together. You see Steph Curry still led the league in scoring that year. I think I had to simulate most of that season, so I ended up only averaging 29 points with LeBron. This year, where I am in my league, I'm averaging 36 with him. But yeah, you see McGrady was top 10 in scoring. Jordan is always close to the top for obvious reasons. Wilt Chamberlain led the league in rebounding, 17 rebounds a game. I have not played them this year, but he is back in my league. Magic Johnson leading the league in assists. I think that will stay the same this year. And steals, I thought Chris Paul would be here. He's going to be there this year, but back in 2K16, it was Jerry West. He was averaging 24 points and 3 steals a game, 8 assists, 3 steals. Yeah, West is really good at defense. And this is the standings for how that league turned out. I had the second best record that year. I had 56 wins. Came in right behind the Showtime Lakers at 58 wins. That is a very difficult team to beat. If I would have made it to the finals that year, that is who I would have probably played. And okay, the Rockets that year actually won 52 games. They're bad this year in my league and they're always very easy to beat. So maybe that messed with my memory a little bit. I didn't know that they were actually the third best team in the league that year, but they're definitely not that challenging to beat. Then there's the 16 Warriors. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, actually, here goes the bad boy Pistons. They won 50 games that year. I would recommend leaving them out of your league. When you play against them, they're just not going to be challenging at all. They're going to be running Dennis Rodman at small forward sometimes, so he's going to be launching threes. And without them being able to like pummel you and knock you to the ground, they're just really not that challenging of a team to beat. I played them this season and I was up by like 20 points instantly, so I would leave them out if I were you. They are not going to be that fun to play. And yeah, that's about all I've got. That is how I invent fun for myself when I want to play off offline. I play this league on Hall of Fame. Oh, very important. I turn the team morale and the team chemistry effects, I turn those off. I'm not interested in if Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming get along in this league. I don't give a fuck. The players will start, you know, they'll be playing bad and it'll completely mess up your experience if you have that on. So I cut that off. I do not allow trades for obvious reasons. It's just the legend team, so if they sign some no-name free agents, I'm cool with that, but I don't want Hakeem Olajuwon getting traded mid-season. That's not the type of league that I'm focused on. And yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any more questions, I will answer them in the comment section if there's something I forgot to go through. And me doing an actual series out of this just completely depends on interest, honestly. Again, when I look around, I see people doing these type of series and there's just zero interest in them, it seems. Well, nobody's really doing like the legend series, but people doing series with the created teams and stuff like that, and it just seems like people do not watch MyLeague. So posting some of the gameplays behind the commentary, I mean, I'm cool with that, but the work that it would take to make like a full dedicated series out of it, I'm just not sure it's worth it compared to some of the other stuff I could be doing. But if you do want to set something up like this yourself, that is how you do it. So hit the like button, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.